Hi, hello. Continue where we left off. Let me turn this off. I'm just gonna jump right into continuing with my book here. Alright, the head of the clan chief or priest, also had a unique clan title that was only given to him or her. Newborn babies would take a grandparent's name or an aunt or uncle's name only if that person were a good person. Bad family members' names were not used again. Neighboring clans were generally friendly towards each other in order to intermarry because marrying within the clan was forbidden. However, people developed pride for their clan and its name as it was strictly dividing, causing tension between the different clans, which resulted in fights and even deaths and the need to become allies with other nearby clans for protection. We can compare this to our current political system. Several clans, each having their own chief or head person, could be under a king or a single more powerful chief who was at the time or who was to become the leader of the clan was usually what caused all of the fighting. For example, one brother wanting to be the leader versus the other brother. The results could lead to the splitting of the clan, with both of them still trying to claim the original name. The Batyak Yima of the Banvubu clan have a hippo as their totem, as well as the Bugobo of the Banvubu clan. The Bukuku of the same clan, the Batunsi same clan, Baigo also the same, as well as many other families within this same clan, the Kanata from the Banu Mogona and Benvubu clan, the Wamvubu clan. Mostly all the Banvubu and the Wamvubu are of the Hippopotamus clan. So you have to go to the previous video to understand why I'm talking about the Hippo clan here. They are also associated with the turtle as well. These people are speakers of the Luganda language, which is a branch of the Niger-Congo language. They were part of the Bantu movement from the area of the Niger-Congo river system, moving back into Central Africa, and are specifically found in Uganda. This still does not tell us where the use of totems originated. Since the Bantu language became the main spoken language in this area, it must mean that the Bantu came and dominated and absorbed the natives into their own culture or killed them. This would prove that the totems originated in Western Africa, north of the equator, near the Niger-Congo River Bend area. However, how did the Egyptians learn the use of totems when they speak a language different and unrelated? We know that earlier the Niger-Congo people split from the main group of ancestors in the Kush of Sudan, where the Middle Nile Tradition flourished. The Niger-Congo people have the genetic haplogroup L1, while at the same time in northern Egypt, the people also share the L1 haplogroup. The L1 haplogroup split from the main group in Kush sometime after 200,000 years ago, probably nearer to the time of between 180 to 160,000 years ago. Kush must have been the place from where the use of totems first existed, if not before this. If they existed before this, it would take us back to the Omo Basin and East Africa. The people did not initially migrate from Egypt to the Niger-Congo bend. The migration occurred through the Sahara from Sudan. This means that totemism must be about 150 to 200,000 years old at least. If we wanted to play it safe, we would say that it must be at least 80,000 years ago, which was the earliest date for the L1 haplogroup. If this is really the case, which it is, totemism originally spread from Sudan to Egypt, Niger, Angola, Congo, and Gabon at the least. This would mean that totemism was a part of the Egyptian culture from the very beginning, first probably seen on the Nile, moving from the south to the north. Aside from the hippos, the Nile crocodile, snakes, scorpions, frogs, elephants, and rhinos live in the area in and around Lake Turkana. People would have encountered some of these animals daily. The snake, crocodile, hippo, scorpion, and frog are some of the earliest representations of animals seen in the Egyptian religion. Before Egypt or anywhere else, the people lived here in East Africa. Their first association with wildlife was here. It is important to understand this when we are trying to discuss the roots of beliefs. Societies of Egypt and Mesopotamia weren't even thought of when people around Lake Turkana were trying to figure out how to get across the lake or where to build a shelter, how to survive a snake bite, what to do if a hippo charged you, or what to do if a crocodile was lurking where food you wanted was nearby, and so on. And fire had already been in existence for a long time before these civilizations took shape. We will discuss further into the animals later. The communities that developed around the lake are still quite like ancient times, are now still quite like they were in ancient times. Of course, they did not use bricks or stones that would have survived until today, which is why we can't find the evidence. They had developed for thousands of years the art of creating stone tools that could cut and shape stone itself, but had not yet figured out how to build shelters out of stone, or did not feel the need to. What can be seen now, or even several hundred thousands of years ago, were canoe boats used to navigate the lake, and they were the first navigators. They, of course, have lived and evolved near lakes and rivers for millions of years. Navigation is important when considering the later navigation of the Egyptian sun god Ra himself. They lived in stick-built huts near the lake. The lake provided their substance in an area surrounded by desert. These were desert people. The Egyptians are desert people as well. The Cushites of Ethiopia and the Red Sea Hills, the Libyans, the Israelites are all desert people. So when they began to move north into the lush green, well-watered lands of Ethiopia, you can imagine it was like a Garden of Eden. Small family communities would have been spread out across the shores with a fence or whatever kind of material that they could find surrounding it. They considered the place where they put their hut on their own land. They did not need to buy it, and they protected it. They wanted to keep animals and strangers out and keep their small children safe. They mostly gathered their food, with the women gathering the most. The men may have hunted some with the weapons that they created out of sticks, rocks, bones, or whatever else they could find and use. Their parents and grandparents lived with them or within walking distance. You can imagine that the parents did not want their children who went out on their own to live extremely far from them and to remain in touch, just like the families of today. Before there were phones, letters were used, and family members knew which city their parents lived in if they wanted to visit them. The understanding of direction and time were necessary for travel in ancient times. Okay, we'll stop right there. Thank you for listening.